There is an idea among fitness enthusiasts, a pervasive and widespread misconception regarding what it takes to build muscle.
Is a vegan diet healthy? The short answer is no.
The other thing is that most of these people that are talking about how healthy and how great they feel, there's a lot of it is sort of a placebo effect.
The negative health impact that may come from eating a vegan diet.
I was essentially low and deficient in almost everything. My hormones were out of balance, like way out of balance.
I probably almost died.
Veganism, the lifestyle defined by abstinence from any and all animal products for ethical reasons. It's good for the animals, no doubt, but how good is it for those actually following the lifestyle? How well does a vegan lifestyle lend itself to building muscle? According to some,
couldn't really even walk.
I could not gain any muscle at the gym, and it wasn't a calorie issue.
You can get your protein from beans and lentils.
Not at all. So what are the main arguments against the functionality of a plant-based diet for fitness? According to the loudest voices, there are two main arguments why you should continue to eat animal products: the lack of protein on a vegan diet and the hormonal impact of a vegan diet. There's a lot of reasons that people have for believing these things. Intuition after a lifetime of consuming animal products, something they've heard from a public figure who seems very credible, or even a result of the misinformation spread by meat and dairy industries. All of these factor in when someone asks the question, can you bodybuild on a vegan diet? Let's find out.
You guys talk about protein? I love protein.
One of the biggest misconceptions regarding a vegan diet is that it doesn't contain the necessary amounts of protein needed for recovery, meaning that building muscle is much more difficult, if not impossible, compared to training on a non-vegan diet. Ignoring the presence of vegan supplements like protein powders that serve the explicit purpose of increasing your protein intake, there are so many whole plant foods that serve as a rich source of protein that can help you bulk up and get beach body ready. Some examples are tofu, tempeh, edamame, lentils, chickpeas, and split peas. These are only a few of the examples of the foods that vegans can eat to pack in the protein, so any claims that a plant-based diet makes protein intake difficult is simply not true. The typical amount of protein needed for a sedentary adult really isn't that high, and can be as low as 60 grams for a 150-pound man who does no activity. Of course, as your activity increases, so does your required protein intake to help with recovery. Because of this, the typical bodybuilding recommendation is as much as 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. So for a 200-pound man, that's 200 grams of protein. Simple, right? But protein isn't everything after all. There's other macronutrients, that is to say, nutrients we eat in large quantities to use as fuel, that play an equally important role in bodybuilding: fat and carbohydrates. Fats are an essential part of any diet, helping with the absorption of fat-soluble nutrients and aiding in brain and nerve function. It's also the source of omega-3 fatty acids, which are essential for your health. One thing to take note of when consuming fat is that it's extremely calorie dense, packing in 9 calories per gram. Because of this, it's very important to evaluate your fat intake in accordance with your caloric and fitness needs, something that we'll examine later. Sources of healthy fats include avocados, nuts, seeds, and nut butters. It's generally recommended that you eat around 30 to 35% of your calories from fat every day. So if you're an average man with an intake of 2,500 calories, you're looking at around 80 to 90 grams of fat every day. Also important is that you try to completely avoid saturated and trans fats because these can have serious impacts on your health. Carbs are the macronutrient that provide us with the energy needed to do intense exercise. There are two types of carbohydrates, simple and complex. Simple carbs, also known as simple sugars, provide quick release energy to the body. Examples of these can be found in white foods like white bread, white pasta, and sugary processed foods. Complex carbohydrates provide a slower release of energy into the body, providing you with energy for longer and avoiding that sugar crash feeling you get after eating a large amount of simple sugars. Complex plant-based carbs can include brown rice, lentils, whole wheat bread, and fiber-rich fruits and vegetables like bananas. A higher carb diet means more energy, so it's important to get them in as much as possible so that you can perform your best. Thankfully, a plant-based diet is chock full of carbs, meaning that you don't even have to try to get them in. Of course, the macronutrients aren't the only thing that determine your success when you're bodybuilding. You could eat the most balanced diet in the world, but if you're not eating enough of it, you are guaranteed to make no progress at all. So let's have a look at calories themselves and how they impact bodybuilding. Calories are the energy in the food we eat. If you eat animals, which, well, don't do that, those animals get their calories from plants, which get theirs from the sun. Everybody needs calories to survive because we use this energy from food to perform basic bodily functions we need to survive, like movement, digestion, and even sleep. Our bodies are essentially machines, and calories are the fuel we use to function. Every human being burns calories, although the number of calories burned differs for every person. A 200-pound, 6-foot male burns an average of 2,400 calories just by going about his business every day, and that's before he exercises. The amount of calories you burn depends on a variety of factors like weight, height, sex, and lean body mass. This base amount of calories is known as your total daily energy expenditure, or TDEE for short. If you were to eat these exact calories every day, you would maintain your current weight. But let's say you wanted to gain weight instead, so that you could start your bodybuilding journey. There are approximately 3,500 calories in a pound of body weight. Depending on the body's needs, this energy will be used for different things. In order to gain weight, you need to eat more than your TDEE each day. To build muscle at a healthy pace, it's generally recommended to stick to 3,500 extra calories per week or an extra 500 per day above the calories needed to maintain your body weight. This is called bulking and is a tried and true method for gaining lean body mass. So let's say you have a TDEE of 2,400 calories and you burn 500 calories per workout. You need to eat those 500 calories on top of your TDEE, bringing it to a total of 2,900 calories just to maintain. You then need the additional 500 calories to gain weight, bringing your total intake to a whole 3,400 calories. That can be an enormous amount of food for people who might not be used to eating that much. Luckily, with the help of those incredibly calorie-dense healthy fats we looked at earlier, bulking responsibly can become a whole lot easier. Something to be aware of is that when you eat more calories than your body needs, you will gain some amount of body fat. This is part of the process and completely natural, and as long as it's not impeding your fitness or your day-to-day life, it shouldn't be a problem. But everyone wants to show off their muscle gains, right? So how do we remove the fat while maintaining as much muscle as possible? The answer lies in the second part of the bodybuilding cycle, something known as a cut. A cut occurs when a bodybuilder eats fewer calories than their total daily energy expenditure, meaning that they end up burning more calories than they've consumed each day, something known as a calorie deficit. Again, there are 3,500 calories in a pound of body fat, so taking 500 away from 2,400 is 1,900, leading to a loss of 1 pound of body fat per week. If this seems like too much, or you feel like your performance will be impacted by this deficit, that's okay. You can easily decrease the deficit to 250 to 300 calories. It's not the number that matters, but whatever you can stick with. After all, the key to muscle gain is consistency, and the same goes for fat loss. Whatever helps you stick to the deficit is what you should stick with. There's also a couple other things you should be aware of when cutting. Because you're causing your body to burn its excess energy stores in the form of body fat, it's important to keep up your training intensity and protein intake so as to not cause your body to burn muscles as fuel instead. If you train hard and eat in a healthy deficit, you should be able to keep most of your gains no problem. This is where a plant-based diet really lends itself well. Not only is it rich in protein and healthy carbohydrates that guarantee good performance, but many plant foods are also low in calories, meaning that you can eat more plant foods to reach the same amount of calories than you would on a non-vegan diet. Not only this, but the fiber-rich foods can leave you feeling fuller for longer, keeping your summer shred hunger-free. So there you have it, everything you need to know about bodybuilding on a vegan diet. Now that you know how to eat, it's important for you to choose how to train. There's so many different options. Powerlifting, Olympic weightlifting, bodybuilding, calisthenics, but that's for you to decide. The world is your oyster, or in this case, your king oyster mushroom. For those of you watching who might not be vegan or already have some amount of bodybuilding savvy, you might notice that this advice is basically the same as non-vegan bodybuilding. And the reason is that, for the most part, it really is the same. Despite missing the chicken and chicken rice and broccoli, gaining muscle with plant-based foods really isn't all that difficult, besides the time and dedication everyone has to invest. Public figures like Patrick Baboumian, Brian Turner, Simnit Nutrition, Nimai Delgado, Hench Herbivore, and Torrey Washington have all successfully built muscle and strength on a plant-based diet. Sure, they do it for a career, but in no way has their diet held them back from achieving their goals. So if they can build muscle without eating meat and dairy, why can't everyone else? Thanks for watching, and I hope this has been an interesting and informative video. I wish you luck on your fitness journey, and I hope to see you again. What? You can't build muscle on a vegan diet? Why not? I've just explained literally everything you need to know about how to build muscle and all the foods that can help you on your journey. What could I possibly be missing? Well, if you knew anything, you'd know not to recommend soy because it decreases testosterone and increases estrogen in men. How is that good for building muscle? Oh boy. There is an even stranger idea among fitness enthusiasts, a pervasive and widespread misconception regarding the effects of soy on your body when trying to gain muscle. The idea goes that because soy contains estrogen, it decreases the amount of testosterone in all you manly men out there and steals your precious gains. Isn't that outrageous, that I'm promoting a diet that completely mixes up your hormones to the point that you can't build muscle? It would be, if it worked like that. The truth is, soy contains plant estrogen, also known as phytoestrogen. These are plant-based estrogens that mimic the effects of estrogen, but at a much weaker capacity. In a meta-analysis of 38 studies that took place over a 10-year time span with over 1,700 total participants, it was found that soy had no impact on testosterone or estrogen levels in men. In fact, most of the cases that you see widely reported on regarding men having their hormones impacted by soy are purely anecdotal, with a single person claiming they felt better after switching to other substances besides soy. If you want to be scared of something that contains estrogen that does have an effect on you, you need look no further than dairy. Dairy contains actual mammalian estrogen, which can have not only a hormonal effect on men and women alike, but also a carcinogenic effect. Yeah, but animal products increase your testosterone. Oh yeah? Interesting thing about that, no they don't. There was an epidemiological study conducted in the US where the relationship between meat and reproductive parameters was conducted. Not only was meat not found to increase testosterone, it was discovered that the intake of processed red meat, which is meat that's been preserved or cured with salt, smoke, and other additives, was inversely proportional to sperm counts in the men who participated in the study. In short, if you want to avoid messing with your hormones, it's probably best to avoid foods that are pumped full of artificial hormones that were banned in the EU in 1989 because of the feared health risks. Hell, a study came out recently that outright disproves the fears of soy reducing testosterone levels, and you're gonna love this next one. In another study released in 2000, not only were the testosterone levels in vegan men not lower than those of omnivorous and vegetarian men, but were actually 13% and 8% higher respectively. There's also those pesky saturated fats, trans fats, and carcinogenic heme iron to watch out for, something you can minimize or even outright avoid by using plant-based products. Try not to overthink it though, just make sure you're getting enough protein and calories for your goals and you're set. Go pick up some heavy weight a bunch of times, eat your greens and your grains and get those gains. I'm Orson Happy Brown with the Swage. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, okay, organic base, this is what you need. Take you to the future, live a life that can be disease-free. All these toxins are taxing on our bodies, no doubt. All these GMOs and these processed foods we can live without. Yeah, assuaged, trust you don't wanna miss. It's time for you to be your best, be your healthiest. Hey, assuaged, let's go.